Hello and welcome to the shed. Hashtag Irish Bills Mafia with me, Trevor. You're very welcome along to the show. It's Tuesday afternoon here when I'm doing the show today. I just have a bit of free time, so I said I'll get it out of the way early. There's a lot to talk about. We had a brilliant weekend of week one of the NFL. The Bills had a brilliant win against the Cardinals, and there's other talking points as well. So I want to get into them all. So, without further ado, I'm going to start. So, what I'm going to do in the show today is I'm going to talk about the games. I'm not going to dwell on every single one, I'll just make a quick comment. But I am going to talk about the Bills game against the Cardinals and how I see things and what improved and what didn't, and so on. And then just any other little bits and pieces of news. I'm also going to give an update on the competition and that I'm running. Um, so I have 21 official entries. I'm not one, so I'm the unofficial one, 22, just playing for the crack. And out of them 21 entries, I thank them very much for entering. It's a great competition so far. There's going to be high scores at the end of it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So to start, we'll look back at week one in the NFL and the games that were played. So on Thursday night, the first game was the Kansas City Chiefs against the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs being the defending Super Bowl champions, they got to raise the flag and had the home game and the first game of the season. And it was built up to be the Mahomes, Jackson, duel, and Jackson was going to, you know, get his own back and prove that he can compete with Mahomes, and he did for long periods. But Mahomes and Co. Um, had too much. The Rashi Rice, Xavier Worthy, Kelsey, and Mahomes and Moore just had too much for the Ravens at the end. And even though Lamar Jackson and Cole put up a good battle and Lamar had a great game on numbers, the Chiefs won 27-20. Then on the Friday night, we had the Brazil game where you had the Green Bay Packers. Well, it was at Philadelphia, but Philadelphia were down in Brazil. And again, it was a high scoring, enjoyable game. I've only seen highlights of it, but they were very enjoyable. The only concern out of it was near the end of the game, Jordan Love has got seriously injured. Now, they don't know whether he'll be out for more than 4 weeks. They're not saying either way, but if it's 4 weeks or more, it's supposed to go on the injury reserve, I think, and they haven't placed him on that yet. So hopefully, for Jordan Love, I hope he does get back as soon as possible, because um, if he doesn't, their season is over. And they were one of my six dark horses that I had for winning or going and winning the Super Bowl. But that was down to Jordan Love being their quarterback. So I hope for Green Bay Packers fans and sake, and for Jordan Love, that his injury ain't too serious and he gets back. But in the game itself, Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts connected. Now, Jalen Hurts didn't have his best game, but I think Saquon Barkley took all the highlights and he got three touchdowns. So in the end, the Eagles won 34-29. There was complaints about the surface of the pitch, that the grass and the turf itself wasn't great. But, the NFL went out, checked this, and, they wanted to promote a game, and that's where it was. Only concern I would have had for the game in Brazil, and I wish Brazil all the best, was the players had to be confined while they were there. If you come to Ireland or the UK, you can go out and about. I'm sure you can do the same in the US, wherever stadium you go. You can go around, see the city, and do what you want if you have the time. So it was just a shame that the players couldn't enjoy it. And again, like Munich, the same way, I'd say they'd have a great time in Munich doing different things, and Frankfurt in Germany and so on. But hopefully that they'll learn from it and find a way that, people can be people and go out and enjoy themselves. Then we go to Sunday's game. So the first game I have on my list for Sunday was the Buffalo Bills against the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm going to talk a bit about this. So the Bills won 34-28, and it wasn't an easy game, but week one games never are easy. You don't know where your team are, you don't know where the other teams are. Preseason was a pile of puke, to be honest. Well, not preseason as in their own training, but the practice games, because they don't even play them, and they don't. If they do, it's only a few snaps, so you don't know what you're seeing or what you're getting. And to be honest, I'd scrap them. I'd let them just train themselves or train with another team for a week and batter against there than have three games that fans have no interest in, players have no interest in, are a waste of time, to be honest. But anyway, they went out and they played the Cardinals. The Cardinals, for the first half, dominated. They were 17-3 up at one stage, and then Josh Allen became Superman, as he does, and he got a touchdown just before halftime, and it was 17-2 at halftime. There was Bills fans very nervous at halftime. Um, you could see some kind of tension online about where things were going, but you have to trust the process. And this team is and has been knocking on the door to get to that Super Bowl for the last 3 or so years. So they're not a bad team. Yes, there is changes, and the changes will take time to dig in. But what I will say is on the defensive side, where they were bitching and bother in the first half, they really tightened things up. And to be fair, they only conceded a field goal in the second half. Now I know they scored more than that, but it wasn't the defense that let that happen. And the offense, whatever tweaks were made at halftime, it was a different offense in the second half. Josh Allen and co just dominated. So for the end of the day, how it turned out was Josh Allen had two rushing touchdowns and two passing touchdowns. He completed 18 out of 23. He had one fumble when he was hit from behind, but it's classed as a fumble, so it's a fumble. He threw for 232 yards and had zero interceptions. That to me is an awesome day. And the way he led his team, um, like if you want to see a leader, that's the guy you watch. Uh, Other players that stood out, Matt Collins got the first touchdown, or caught the first touchdown for the Bills. He had two from two, so Matt Collins had a good game. Heel Shakir, my man, was 3 from 3 and got an amazing touchdown. Caught a slant pass from Josh, ran in, used the defender's body to roll over to make sure he got to the line with the ball before his body touched the ground. It was amazing. Gregory Rousseau had 3 sacks. This is the Gregory Rousseau we've been waiting for. It's starting to show. Von Miller got a sack. So welcome back, Vaughn. I hope this is the Vaughn we're going to see for the season. We need him. And another player that stood out for me was the rookie, Keon Coleman. He had got 4 from 5, and he was very unlucky with the one he didn't get. He caught an amazing catch up the field from Josh, and I think there's big things coming from him. Like, out of the rookies that played, he was one of the outstanding ones for all the teams over the weekend. So well done, Keon Coleman. Another player where I want to give a bit of credit to is Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass has received a lot of criticism, and to be honest, he's under the watch of everyone because of the misses he had last year, especially against Kansas in the playoff, where he missed a field goal that could have tied the game. And yesterday, in a very breezy day, um, he kicked 3 extra points and he kicked 2 field goals, and he missed nothing. So well done, Tyler. The only concern I would have was the return kickoff from Arizona. It was the first return kickoff that a touchdown was scored from. DJ Dallas is the man that got it, 96 yards. Well done, DJ. But this kickoff was brought in, at the end of last season. Managers, coaches, players all know about it. Tyler Bass went to meet DJ Dallas, and I'm not that smart. A child would have made a better effort at tackling him than he did. Now, I know he's our kicker, but the man has had 9 months to get his body right. That if he's the last man of defense and you're playing for a big game like this one, because every one of these games count, you make a tackle, not run by him, not make a half pathetic effort of hitting him. You hit him, you knock him. Your body should be able to get up and get on with it. Other players can. That's my only thing. So if it's something he could work on, it would be brilliant because there is going to be returns, but at least make an effort at trying to stop the man if you're going to, it just didn't look good. But as for his kicking, he was perfect. The other news out of it was Tyron Johnson. He's out of the game from Miami. Josh Allen did have an injury to his left hand, his non-throwing hand, but he's been past fit to train yesterday, and Josh Allen plays through pain. This He's done it for every year. Um, he is the perfect role model. He'll do what you want, and he'll give you everything he can, and that's all you can ask for. So we had a good win. On the other side, James Conner had a rushing touchdown for Arizona, which is, he's coming in with a big name, and he got them to score. He had a good game. Wilson got the reception for the touchdown from Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray threw for 162 yards. He also rushed for 57. He had a good game. But when we tweaked things in the second half, we put them under pressure. Marvin Harrison Jr. He had three targets and three receptions for 4 yards, but they didn't target him much. Whether he was marked out of it. Now they did show at the end for Kyler Murray's last pass that he was wide open on the other side of the field. But in fairness to Kyler, he hadn't a lot of time to throw the ball, and he was looking the other way. So I'm not going to, if I was a Cardinals fan, I wouldn't criticize him too much for it. So overall, I'm happy. We got the win. The first half, there was some concerns, but in the second half, things were tweaked and changed. Players came out, and the attitude was good. And for me as a fan, all I can ask for is your team goes out and tries, which is gives everything. If you get the win, well, brilliant. And if you don't, you can't walk off the field and say, "Well, I didn't try." And this team did try. We are a new team. A lot of players gone. Some I'll be talking about later. But at the end of the day, a new team moving forward, and I have high hopes for it. And we've one game down. Next game is Miami Thursday night, which I'll talk about in the Thursday podcast. And let's bring it on. So then I'm going to run through a few games here now afterwards, because I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Um, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I had a lot of hope for the Atlanta Falcons. I had them still have them as a dark horse, but they didn't look good at the weekend. Kirk Cousins uh, threw two interceptions, wasn't great. Their O line wasn't great at protecting them. Pittsburgh had to change their quarterback at the start of the game. Russell Wilson has a calf injury and is out for a number of weeks, so they put in Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields did all right, but they threw no touchdowns, but they got 6 field goals, and they won the game 18-10. So basically, TJ Watt was on fire, and the Pittsburgh defense was on fire, and that's what got Pittsburgh the win. And fair play, sometimes your defense has to win you games. Justin Fields didn't do anything wrong, just that they didn't throw for a touchdown or run a touchdown. But they won the game, and no more than the Bills. That's all they care about. Then we had the Tennessee Titans as the Chicago Bears. The Bears won 24-17, but that doesn't tell anything. The Titans were 17-0 up. Will Levis, quarterback of the Titans, was playing brilliant stuff. And whatever happened at halftime, the wheels came off, and Will Levis basically won the Bears the game. Now, I have um, Caleb Williams, the quarterback for the Bears, as the young player of the year, but he was far, far, far from it at the weekend. Um, I don't know whether it was nerves or what it was, but he didn't throw any interceptions, but he didn't do anything either. And the Bears got a touchdown from a block punt, and the Bears got a touchdown from Will Levis thrown to them. So there was no offensive touchdown scored by the Bears. It was defensive touchdowns that got the game. They got the win. Um, I don't know. There was a lot of hope. And maybe it will come for Chicago, but looking at that the first week, um, you have to see more before you can make a judgment, because it was a different looking team than preseason. And I know what I said about preseason, and it seems to be coming true. As for Will Levis and the Titans, well, you threw the game away. You know, that's all I'll say, because if they had kept the ball, if you didn't throw that ball away, they were 17-16 up, I think, at the time. And if you didn't throw that ball away, they'd have had to punt it, but Chicago wouldn't have scored in a million years because they couldn't. He just wasn't going to happen. Then another shock at the week. Well, that wasn't a shock. The shock was just how poor Chicago were offensively, but still got the win. But another shock of the weekend was the Patriots at the Bengals. Now, in the competition, I think only one person picked the Patriots. And I think I'm not sure if that was a Patriots fan or not. I'll have to go back and check. But everyone else has Cincinnati. I had Cincinnati. I expected Cincinnati to walk it. And the Patriots defense snuffed out Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, the whole lot of them snuffed them out. The win 16-10. Jacoby Brissett wasn't hectic looking, but he did everything right and did enough for them to get the win. And their defense closed out Cincinnati and have a lot of questions over Cincinnati from this because Cincinnati have a huge game coming up next weekend. And I don't know, can they go 0-2? We'll see. And then for one of the games of the weekend was the Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans won 29-27, but the quality of the two quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, was absolutely outstanding. And the throws and catches and plays for the whole game was brilliant. It was one that you couldn't take your eye off. The Texans would go up, score a touchdown, bang, down will come Richardson with the Colts and reply. And it was two in a row, and in the end, it was just a 2-point victory. But it was a brilliant game. Then there was the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Miami Dolphins. The talking point of this was Tyreek Hill getting arrested before the game for speeding, and there's a lot of video camera out. I'm not making a comment on it. I'm just going to talk about football, but it is a story. But Tyreek Hill did have a good game for the Miami Dolphins, and he had a touchdown of 80 yards where he caught a great pass from Tua and beat two defenders and ran into the pitch. And fair play to him, he played well. The Jacksonville Jaguars are up in this game. They'll feel like they left it behind. Gabe Davis, they used to play for the Bills, did all right, but I don't think too spectacular. Um, and I think it was the last second field goal that won it for the Dolphins, but I think overall the Dolphins deserve to win it. And now we have the Dolphins on Thursday night. So again, can't wait for it. Just to jump back to the Texans game, Stephon Diggs got two touchdowns. As I said, he could play and be on fire this year. It doesn't surprise me. All he's looking for is to get to the Dallas Cowboys to his brother next year. But the Texans won't complain if he brings them a long way. And he played well, call a spade a spade. But he's gone from us, and good luck. The next game we're going to talk about is the New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers. Now, the New Orleans Saints won 47-10, and basically that says the picture of, or tells the story, I should say. Um, Derek Carr and Cole looked awesome. Bryce Young and Cole looked pathetic. And Bryce is going to become under awful pressure. He's the number one pick from last year. Last year, they had a head coach change, a general manager change. They were building up for this. And everyone thought that Dave Canales, when he come in, would be the man to change things, and he might. But if what I was hearing at the weekend, they've spent an awful lot of money to build this team. Last year, their last game of the season, they couldn't get 400 people in to watch the game. They were giving away tickets for 50 cents a ticket. There won't be a Carolina Panthers team if this continues. And David Trepper, he has put a lot of money into the club, into the franchise. He won't keep it in Carolina if that's what's going to happen. And he's going to be asking a lot of questions. If they get another 3 or 4 of these beatings, then there'll be a lot of questions. And I feel sorry for Bryce Young. He's just in a awkward situation. His confidence is totally gone. He threw interceptions there that I could throw, and if I threw them, you'd say nothing. But this guy shouldn't be throwing these kind of passes and interceptions, but it's just gone. And I think the Panthers realize now CJ Stroud was the man they should have went instead of for Bryce Young, but they made the decision. Um, was there anything good for the Panthers? The bits I seen, no. Just it was the first game, so maybe they'll fix everything in the week and come out and fire next weekend, but I doubt it. Then another two teams that I got the prediction wrong. I didn't get the prediction wrong for the Saints, but this one I picked the Giants over the Vikings. Sam Darnold and the Vikings, he had 12 from 12. He was brilliant. The Vikings were brilliant. They won 28-6. That's not the story. The story is Brian Dable is in big trouble if this is quarterback and his play continues. They invested a lot on every other part of their team except the quarterback, and Daniel Jones looked awful. Now their uniforms looked awful, and I'm a man that likes his jerseys and likes the uniforms, but they're not one I'll be getting. But they they were pathetic. Daniel Jones, wow, for a man that 2 years ago brought his team to the playoffs, looked amazing, got a huge contract, and then um, he got injured last year, fair enough, but it's not the injury that's causing him these issues. And I was reading today, he's thrown, since he's got a contract, he's thrown more interceptions than he's thrown, more pick six, sorry, than he's thrown touchdowns to his own team. That's frightening and getting huge money. Give me half of it, I'll throw the same. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the Giants and Brian Dable, um, I thought that they'd push on this year. Don't know about playoffs, but at least have a winning season and see where it goes. Going off last weekend, they got hammered 40-0 the first game last year by the Cowboys, and they got hammered 28-6 by a Vikings team that has potential, has a questionable quarterback. Went into New York, big hoorah, 100 years old, and hammered them. Then we had the divisional game of the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers, Harbaugh's first game in charge, and Justin Herbert played very well. Um, the Chargers played very well. The 122-10, Max Crosby, a man I've up for Defensive Player of the Year, wasn't close and wasn't batted. And Gardner Minshew, he did all right, but he made some mistakes as well. They'll have to work on it. But I think the Chargers just showed the Raiders they're ahead of them in the league in their group. And with Harborough now in, I think that they'll be pushing Kansas as the closest challenger in that AFC West division. Then we had the Broncos at the Seahawks. The Seahawks won 26-20. Bo Nix did all right, but he threw two interceptions. Geno Smith and co. I didn't think would, win this game, but they turned it on. The first 4 or 5 plays they had the ball wasn't great, and the fans were getting restless. But I think they turned it around, and they got the 26-20 win. So well done to them. Then the two most highly paid players in the NFL with guaranteed money. It broke on Sunday before the game. Dallas Cowboys have signed Dak Prescott to a 4-year deal, and he's getting guaranteed money of 231 million, which beats the guaranteed money given to Deshaun Watson by 1 million, who gets 230. Dak went out and did his business, did his work, and played brilliant. And the Cowboys won 33-17. And the Cleveland Browns were left, our fans are very angry because Deshaun Watson is not the player they think he is, or they wanted him to be as a player. Leave out all the other stuff. Um, I have discussed that before. And he is a guy that is shown that he has missed football. He's missed a full season on his own bat, half a season because he was suspended, more than half a season, then games through injury, and then last season a lot of games through injury, and he's missing it. And I thought the Browns would beat the Cowboys, but no, they they their Micah Parsons and their defense was awesome. They got at Watson every time they could. And then offensively, CD Lamb and Ezekiel Elliott, sorry, running back. They, amongst others, tore Cooks as well. Brandon Cooks tore stripes off them. So it was a good win for the Cowboys, 33-17. The Browns were a team that were looking to do well in the NFC or the AFC North. Push it. Now maybe they will, but after last week's performance, Joe Flacco did a lot more than in his short time there than Deshaun Watson has, and he can get 230 million guaranteed. That's all I'll say. Then you had the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers won 37-20. Baker Mayfield, who was the quarterback at the Cleveland Browns before they got rid of him, has come around and just shown the NFL and the Cleveland Browns what they're missing. He led this team commandingly to a commanding win. Jalen Daniels from the Washington Commanders, he got 2 touchdowns, but he's learning. He's a rookie quarterback. And the Commanders are a team that just, will be thereabouts, hopefully put up a bit of a opposition every week, and if they get a win here and there, they'll be happy. I think this season, I don't see them pushing for playoffs. They'll be a team that's building. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have left off where they were last year, as Baker Mayfield has, and fair play to them. They're 1-0. And then the Sunday night game was a cracker, went to overtime. The Los Angeles Rams, the Detroit Lions, it was everything was advertised. Stafford, Jared Goff, brilliant play. And in the end, the Detroit Lions won 26-20 in overtime, where Montgomery and Co ran the ball rather than threw the ball. I think it was 8 plays they had when they got possession of the ball from the kickoff. 7 of them they ran, and it was a rushing touchdown that got the 6-point win. And then Monday Night Football, I waited up till halftime last night, and I had to go to bed then. I couldn't stay awake any longer. But I seen the highlights this morning. San Francisco 49ers were taking on the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers comeback. I'm glad he lasted the game. I don't wish injury on any player. So regardless whether I like them or not, um, they're there to do their job and they're doing the best they can. What I took from the first half, where I seen most of it, or like seen it, rather I should say, not and the highlights in the second half. Uh, 49ers announced before the game that they were missing Christian McCaffrey, and I thought, wow, this could go to the Jets. A huge loss. But the replacement came in and he just destroyed the Jets. And Debo Samuel and Co. and especially Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was the man that is, in most people's eyes, has all the weapons and he's just throwing the ball here and there. No, Brock Purdy is a quality quarterback. I would have in my team if I didn't have Josh Allen, or I would want to have in my team if I didn't have Josh Allen. He's brought his team to an NFC Championship game where he got badly hurt, which wasn't his fault, and it was early in the game. And he brought his team to a Super Bowl where he did nothing wrong, just bad calls, bad decisions, and from their sideline more so than anything else, cost them that game. And the 49ers won 32-19, and the Jets defense had looked good in patches and looked bad in patches. The Jets offense looked good in patches and bad in patches. There was times Garrett Wilson looked amazing, and Brees Hall and Aaron Rodgers, and those times they didn't. Um, we'll see in a few weeks' time what the Jets are. We'll see whatever team are in a few weeks' time. This is only game week 1. But um, for us in the AFC East, seeing them get a loss as early as this is a good thing for us. It's just, you know, if they had won that, there'd be more hoorah and then more pressure on the Buffalo Bills, where them taking the loss is a good thing. The other 3 teams in the division have won, but um, this is all about the Jets. Listen to Peter Schrager and other media personnel. It's the Jets, the Jets, the Jets. So it's nice to see the Jets brought down to earth in a good way. So that's the review of the weekend. I'm running a competition. I have 21 entrants, and I'm just going to name out of the 16 games who's the number ones at the minute and who is number 21 at the minute. Now, number 20 is still good scores. The lowest score was 8, and Jay Meehan got 8 out of 16. And the highest score was 13, and there was 5 people that got 13. Jimmy English from Gaelic Gridiron, Danny Meehan, who's Jane Meehan's dad and a good friend of mine, got 13. Leisha got 13. Michaela Fagan got 13. And John Garbett got 13. So well done, guys. So the scores were 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and 8. There's no big gaps or anything. People can move up the table and move down just as easily as every week goes by. Myself, I got 10 out of 16. I'm happy with that. If I get 10 out of 16 every week, then if I was in the competition, I'd be there or thereabouts. But for the ones that got the high scores, 13, 12s, 11s, well done. They're massive pickings. I've already sent out the list for week 2, so once I get them in, I'll be putting this up on social media later on, scores. But it's a bit of crack, and hopefully it'll bring people together, and that's the whole point of it. And we'll have a laugh. And if someone gets the wooden spoon, that someone will, well, good luck to it. And if someone wins the hoodie, best of luck to them as well. So that's it for today, folks. This is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Um, my information is going to cross the bottom. So as you see, I'm on Facebook now. So it's Trevor Marley or at the Irish Bills Mafia. You get me on YouTube at the Irish Bills Mafia. You get me on Instagram at the Irish Bills Mafia. And you get me on Twitter, or X as it's called now, at Bills_Irish. If you like what you see or have any comments or anything you want me to talk about, please drop a message in any of the social medias or even on YouTube. And if you can hit the like, subscribe, and follow button and share, I would be very, very grateful. I'm steady. I'm happy. The people who are watching, I hope they're enjoying it. And as I said, this is what I like to do. I like to talk about things. In the coming weeks, I'm going to have a good few special guests on, and I'll announce them as we get closer along and run through the season. And we'll have our normal shows the Tuesday and Thursday. So that's it for today, folks. And look, thank you very much. As always, hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend gone by. And until Thursday's video, please God, stay safe, stay happy, and as always, go Bills.